Episode two's adventure will begin in just a moment. After episode one, we did want to take a moment to just include a little bit of a forward, a sort of warning for episodes going forward. First, we are a bunch of adults who get together and play this game, so there are things like swears and innuendo and probably the occasional reference to some sort of adult situation. So while there's nothing extremely overt, I would say that we're probably at least like TV 14 style rating. I wouldn't necessarily recommend the show for audiences of a certain age. Second thing we wanted to give you a heads up about, at least for the first few episodes, is because we play this game online, there was a degree of typing back and forth, and I'm doing my best to edit around those dead spots in the recording. But when I realized that typing makes for bad radio, I switched over to actually having a channel where I could actually talk with my players about the things that were going on. So bear with us a bit for the first couple of episodes. I'm trying to cut out a lot of the long pause moments, but we just had to make a bit of a adjustment. Anyway, here's episode 2, and I hope you enjoy.
All right, session 2. As a recap to session 1, you all went drinking at a bar. You found yourselves drawn, for one reason or another, to a young woman in a red cloak. You all sidled up near her, and after a brief comment to one of you, a brilliant blue light swelled in the room and ripped you all out of there. Coming to, you found yourselves in a swaying parlor-like space. After determining that the doors were labeled appropriately with celestial carvings, you came to the realization that you were on a ship. You proceeded up very cautiously to the deck, or rather to the galley, and pressed your ear to the door, where you heard some gentlemen making discussion about cooking some objects that they had brought on board. Uncertain as to what exactly they were speaking of, one of your party opted for a direct approach.
That's putting it lightly.
Dude was drunk.
Wasn't it that the whole scoop thing sobered you up?
Dude was angry and hungover and still drunk.
All right.
It's not.
You can absolutely be all of those things.
Yes. Yes. His drunkenness was still there, but clarity cut through unabashedly. Upon storming outside and berating one of the crew members, you came to a realization that what you were sailing along on was, in fact, not the sea as you typically know it. You were sailing on a sea of stars. After some beratement and a cessation to arms, the XO convinced you to have a conversation with the captain. The XO being Adephira. And she convinced you to talk to Captain Azure. Azure explained that, yes, your position here was completely by accident. And as much as he would like to restore you to where you belong, there's a bit of a problem with that. The ship you are on the Solar Sapphire is not in great shape, and you're not entirely certain as to where you are. Realizing that the woman that you had all gathered around was in fact a bounty for the captain, your irate, drunken friend struck up a bargain. At the same time that your young bard friend decided that alcohol was the best coping mechanism for how
She does what
was
she
feeling.
can.
At which point she proceeded to pass out on the table. And the rest of you suddenly found yourselves hearing the cries of another ship in range. As you ran outside, the ship proceeded to open fire on you.
Rude.
Quite so. Micah, following the XO down into the lower levels of the ship, assisted in loading a charge into a large blue crystal array. And Zayden, rifling through a series of star charts, found what he believed to be a associated map. And between the pair of you, managed to assist in launching the ship a distance away into a different part of the astral sea. Meanwhile, below, Thera has come to and punched herself some iron bars. Meanwhile, gentlemen upstairs, you, well, actually, gentlemen singular, because Micah, you descended down into the lower depths of the ship, but Zayden, you do hear the call for land ho.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess. Am I still in the map room, the cockpit, or whatever it is?
The chart room is still there, and Azure has come out to the railing on that level, so he's standing just outside. But you can still be.
Oh, okay. So we did go outside. All right. Yeah, I'm looking off to see what land he's talking about.
Okay, give me a perception check.
That is a 18.
Yeah. Off the port side of the ship, some distance off, you can't make out much detail, but there is a small off-color shape that appears to glint, not quite like a star, but a more inconsistent light. And as you focus on it, it does appear to be sort of flickering and has a much closer appearance than a lot of the stars around you.
All right.
You watch as Azure looks to his scout, up in the nest, and the scout leans over and points with a small flag in the direction of the island, to which Azure turns around and goes back to the wheel in navigation and swings the ship slightly towards it. Micah, Kelly leans back. Whew! I tell you, friend, that was a hell of a trip. At which point you see as all the gems, all the large crystal arrays down here fade to a very dim light, and she kind of shakes her head at it. I tell you, we won't be doing that again anytime soon. She reaches into a pocket and comes forward with a leather-bound flask, and she uncorks it and takes a swig, and she offers it to you.
Who's all there? I'm right there.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I take the flask.
Okay.
And then I proceed to drain the flask into my person.
I'm not the only one with an alcohol problem. Thank you.
What you throw back is it is rough. I mean, even for a man of your caliber, you don't have to roll a check against it, but you feel like a burning behind your eyes.
Yeah. I figure it's not the worst thing that Micah's ever had, but it's definitely on the list.
Yeah.
It's in the top 10.
You're not quite sure if what she just gave you in this flask was actually alcohol or something they used to treat the wood of the ship.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said Micah hasn't drank turpentine.
Yeah. She reaches a hand out to take her flask back.
I hand it back once I have removed liberated its contents.
She proceeds to go to take a drink and realizes that it's empty, and she kind of gives you a displeased look. All right, big man, let's go see what they're yelling about upstairs. She proceeds to exit the room.
I follow.
Okay. Thera.
Yes.
There is a roughly body-shaped form lying on the ground wrapped in a cloak on the other side of the bars.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a open door behind you.
Mm-hmm. Is it moving? Like, can I tell if it's breathing or not?
Give me an investigation check.
Nat 20 +1.
It appears to be breathing, but the breaths are very measured. You get the sense that it's paying very close attention to whatever just struck the bars.
One more time, you cut out.
It is paying very close attention to whatever just struck the bars.
I'm still missing those last 2 words. I'm sorry.
It's paying attention to you.
Okay.
It's not looking at you. It's staying very still, and it's trying very hard not to move or appear to be breathing very much at all, and is clearly very aware of the fact that you are there.
Of the fact
that you are there.
Okay. I know I punched the bar, but am I inside this cell or am I outside of the cell?
You are outside of the cell.
Okay. And the door behind me leads to somewhere else in the ship, correct?
Correct.
And I see where the door for the cell is, or the opening for the cell is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Especially with your like 20 investigation, you.
Because I'm a man. Okay. No. I'm not gonna hurt you. Why are you here?
I'm guessing your family hasn't told you yet.
Told me what? I haven't seen them in years.
I feel.
Hmm?
Maybe you haven't seen them, but you must hear them.
What do you know of my condition?
I know that you straddle the universe.
A what?
You straddle the universe. Have they told you?
No. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's a decision for you to make. One that affects all of us.
I know very little about what you're talking about.
The light. You must make a decision about the light.
At this point, Fear is like, what the fuck? How does this person know about what's going on in my head? Kind of a thing. And is gonna just kind of slap at the gate, the door part, and say, well, stop talking your nonsense and give me something to go with. If you don't have answers for me, then there's no need for me to help you, is there?
Make a dexterity saving check.
Saving check?
Uh-huh. Or saving throw, I apologize.
16 plus 5, so 21.
Holy
Hi, I'm an acrobat.
yeah.
It's crazy that you only have a 16 in the stat, or that you've got a 16 in the stat, but you only rolled a 5. You know, it's rough.
I am just that good. No, I'm kidding.
With preternatural speed, she suddenly slithers across the floor and pops up right by the bars.
Mm-hmm.
And she attempts to grab for your wrist, but you yank back at the last second.
Nice. Nice.
You want something solid?
Mm-hmm.
I can give you all of the answers you seek if you get me out of
All right. But first, tell me why they put you in here in the first place.
Because sad old men have a bad habit of losing their keys.
All right. I attempt to see if there are keys hanging anywhere in the vicinity of, not in the whatever.
Give me another investigation check.
That one was not as great, but it's an 11.
find any place for a key, or really a place for anything. You do notice that the room is exceptionally bare.
Okay. So I guess I'm gonna attempt to break apart the whatever, break open the gate door thing. Cage? Cell? Cell.
Sure.
Sure. um, is there a lock on it, or is it just like a
There's a
all
big
in
old,
one?
There's a big old keyhole at a latching point in the door bars.
Probably go and try and break that, right?
How do you go about doing so?
Well, it's just like it's in line with the door, or is it like a lock on the thing that kind of hangs off that I can break the lock off?
It's in line with the door. It's like built into a part of the door.
Okay, so she can't do anything. So then I will come back and get my answers. And she turns and she walks off into the open door that she has nowhere where the heck it leads, but she's not letting anybody know that she doesn't know where it goes.
Vera, that's a closet.
Shut up!
It's a cell that just opens into a closet, and there's no other way into the room.
Shut up! But so she starts walking off.
Yeah. So you actually walk out into a
Mhm.
room full of glass tanks.
Okay.
And it's essentially, they line either side and form almost a T-junction with the door that opens out into them.
Okay.
Are you going left or right?
Left?
Okay. As you walk along, what's your passive perception again?
15.
Okay. As you're going along, you do catch out of the corner of your eye, in one of the tanks, a glowing green spine lights up as it gyrates along next to you.
Nice. So it's a haunted spaceship.
There is a door at the far side.
Okay. I attempt to open.
Okay. It opens easily enough. As you open it, you're suddenly awash with music.
With what?
Music.
Okay. Recognized?
You can give me a history check.
18, no mod.
Yeah. It's sort of odd. It's when they throw large, like, town square festivals.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of the go-to performance piece for the just corner street band that sets up to sort of play
Gotcha.
the stage. It's
Okay. You're precious. Continue.
which the sort of the music is somewhat familiar. However, what you see as you open the door is less so.
Okay.
As you open up into a square room with a series of different beasts. Some you recognize, some you most definitely do not.
So I did find the circus. Okay.
And they are, each carving is mounted to a wood pole.
It's not the fun circus. Okay.
With a blue bit of crystal at the top and bottom. And they proceed to bob up and down as they float around in a circle through the center of the room.
That's extremely terrifying. Okay. Do I see any people in this room?
Give me a perception check.
Shit. 16 plus 5, so 21.
You do actually see a guy
Mm-hmm.
Who appears to be unmoving on the back of what appears to be some sort of finely carved fish, except that it has a long, almost beak-like snout full of razor teeth.
Fantastic. Okay.
And he appears to be slumped on its back, not moving.
Okay, I'm gonna slowly back out of this room.
Okay. You do also see.
Why? That all sounds incredibly normal.
There are additional doors off of that room, just given how good your perception check was.
Okay. There are additional doors off the room with the floating heads. Okay.
They're full bodies. They're not just heads.
Oh, with a room of floating animals. Gotcha. Of the
Like
floating
I'm
carousel,
imagining that
okay.
they're moving around like a I'm imagining them moving around like a carousel, but they don't have any of the pipes, so it's just a bunch of like animal corpses bobbing up and down in the air.
It is well, they have the piping, but they don't have any of the rest of the framework. But yes, that is exactly how they are moving around.
Oh, so they do have the pipes going through them.
Yes, the poles run through the middle of the bodies, and the top and bottom of the pole each has a blue crystal on it, and it kind of bobs freely around.
So sans carousel.
Correct.
Beautiful.
Huh.
Terrifying.
Horrifying.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna go to the other direction.
Okay.
Go past the door that I originally entered the glass chamber room in from, and then go in that direction. So I would have gone right.
Yeah. You do notice as you walk back through the room, there are now a couple of those light up, glowing spines swimming through the tanks on either side of you.
Some more than just the one, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say, given that I assume you are keeping a weathered eye out.
Yes.
Roll me a perception check.
That's gonna be a 22 after mod.
Okay.
I like this die. I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah, it seems to be going.
One's rolling well. Good lord.
You proceed back through the door into the room full of tanks, and you see the creepy spine things, and you're looking ahead, and you see the door at the far side. However, as you walk down,
Mm-hmm.
you get to the door at the far side, and you notice that there wasn't any other door off of this hallway.
So, meaning that the door that is now in front of me is the only door in this room.
Well, when you look behind you, the door to the carousel room is still there.
But not to the cell.
Right.
Fantastic. Okay. I'm gonna open the door.
Okay. So you open this door, and you actually come out in the center of a lofted landing,
Okay.
and off to your right is another door and a flight of stairs down to a lower level,
Mhm.
and there's a door to your left, and there are 2 more doors set on the lower level.
Okay. There's a door to my left. There's stairs going down. There's 2 more doors down there. What was the first option?
There's a door to your left, a door to your right, and there's a flight of stairs on your right down to 2 more doors on the lower level.
I'm gonna go on the right.
Door on the right?
Mhm.
Okay. You open the door on the right,
Mhm.
and inside is it's not a very large room.
Okay.
Inside there is a work table set on the far side,
Mhm.
and it is littered with wood shavings and a series of woodworking tools.
Okay.
And hung all through the rafters of this room
Mhm.
are various dolls of varying degrees of carving.
Various degrees of what?
Carving.
Okay. Thought you said pooping. I got really concerned. Okay, only mildly concerned. I've met you.
Tell us some things about the themes of this game.
Okay, so I don't see any people in this room either.
Not any that aren't wooden.
So no, okay, so I'm gonna back out of this room and go for the other door that's on this level.
Okay. When you open that door, it's not so much of a room. When you open it, there's actually just a ladder going upward.
Upward?
Yeah.
Can I tell if that ladder goes up to the deck or if it just goes up to another floor inside the ship?
As you look up, there is a hatch cover at the top of the ladder.
Okay. I'm gonna dog ear that one. I'm gonna leave that door open as I leave through that door, and I'm gonna go down.
Did you shut the workshop door, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
And the carousel room door, if that matters.
You do. I will let you know when you shut the carousel door. The music cut off.
Okay. Makes sense.
As you go back, roll another perception check.
19.
Yeah. The door to the workshop is slightly ajar.
Fantastic. Okay. I am gonna not go downstairs. I'm gonna go to the door and tug it shut again.
Okay.
And do I see what could have come out of that room or gone into that room?
You don't, but
Okay.
you do hear a sound from behind you go.
So inside the room?
No, behind you.
Fantastic. I turn around.
You don't see anything.
Even better. All right. I'm gonna bolt down those stairs like my life depends on it.
Okay. When you get down there,
Hmm.
is both doors are set in the far wall opposite the
Mhm.
stair. There's one on the right and one on the left.
Okay.
And there's also space under the lofted space above you. Do you turn around and look that way, or are you running for one of the doors?
I'll turn around and look that way. Fuck it.
Set back under the lofting is a wall covered in a crushed red velvet curtain with a gold trim on the bottom.
That's not terrifying at all. Okay. I'm gonna go through the door that is. I'm assuming the closest one to me would be the one that's on the left.
On the right.
Okay, so I go in the one that's on the right.
Okay. You rip open the door on the right.
Yep.
And inside is do you look, or do you just run inside?
I kind of like I do that stupid girl thing where you run like 3 steps in and then you stop and realize you're entering a new spot, so you just kind of stop and look around.
Sure.
Yeah.
As you proceed to take those first couple of steps in,
Mhm.
little sconce lights at the corners of the room light up
Fabulous. Okay.
with a faint bluish light.
Even better.
And in the sort of pale shade, you can see yourself. And you look to your left, and you see yourself, and to your right, you see yourself. And
Do I
yourself,
recognize that I'm in a hall of mirrors?
and yourself, and yourself. And you do recognize that it appears to be a very a room full of mirrors all faced in on each other.
Okay.
You're still on the ship, right?
That's a good question.
I
Like,
think
what
so.
kind of horrible clown circus ship are we on?
The broken kind, don't forget. Okay, I am going to walk exactly as many steps backward as I had to get in the room
Okay.
and pray to God I get out of the room.
Do you remember how many steps it was?
Well, the door, unless you... Well, actually, that's an important question. Did you shut the door behind you?
No.
Then the door is still partially ajar, and you can still see the wood finish of the room behind you.
Okay. So I leave
Okay.
and shut the door and move to the other door on this floor.
Okay.
So it would have been the left.
Do you proceed quickly for that other door?
Do I still hear scuttling?
If you pause long enough to listen, the scuttling isn't there, but you most definitely hear the sound of...
I'll take my time. I can deal with the clown. So I will not go quickly. I will open the door and look in.
Okay. That's a good thing, because as you open the door to this room,
Mm-hmm.
the planks proceed about 5-ish feet into the room, and then appear to be roughly shorn off, and there is nothing but darkness beyond.
So it was a trap. Cool. All right.
At which point, a hand wraps firmly around your arm and yanks you back into the room with all the doors.
Into the main room?
In the main room.
Okay. I turn to face
Girl,
the
what
hand.
are you doing down here?
Hi.
At which point you proceed to see a elven man,
Okay.
and from the sort of disheveled and worn coat that he is wearing, you realize that this was actually the man that was going round and round on the carousel.
All right.
He has a long and slightly frazzly goatee.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chunk missing from one of his ears. But what's
Okay.
most impressive about him is, and you know this, that he is full elf.
Mm-hmm.
He is a full elf with a spidering of wrinkles under his eyes and just shock gray hair.
Okay.
And to your knowledge, elves that have wrinkles and gray hair are old.
No, really.
To look like that and also still carry all the markings of being true elf, you old AF.
Okay, fair. All right.
I think the question becomes how many thousands of years?
She's kind of trying not to be like, "Wow, you're old," to his face.
Completely fair.
What am I doing down here? What are you doing down here?
I work down here. What are you doing down here?
I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm trying to find my party.
Your party. Are you not part of the captain's crew?
Yes, I am. Yep, that's what I meant.
And he allowed you down here unguided?
Yeah.
Christ.
Look, it's my first day, okay?
I'm gonna go ahead and need you to make a deception check.
Allowed you down here by the very strict definition of allowed, meaning did not
Damn.
prevent.
Okay. So this die failed me. I rolled a 2, plus 5, so 7.
Hold on. Oh, I need that.
Huh?
But behind his rounded spectacles, he squints at you.
Okay.
Really, girl? If you joined the captain's crew, what's the captain's name?
Azure.
And what's the first thing the captain does when he welcomes a new crew member?
Stops us from killing his men. Look, it's a long story. I promise you, I am unwittingly, I suppose, a part of Captain Azure's crew for now. But I really just need to find the 2 that I came onto this ship with.
Now, when you give that explanation, as soon as you get through the first bit about stops you from killing his crew, you kind of watch as the old elf's face kind of like pulls back and is way more reflective. He's like,
picture your face doing that too. That's the best part.
It's like, did not expect that answer.
Sorry, I cut out for a second there. What has everybody up and arm?
Uh,
When she
facial
gave the
expressions.
explanation of she joined the crew because the captain stopped you from killing the rest of his crew, the old elf kind of gave it the yeah that kind of tracks.
But then she just kept talking because, you know.
All right. Well, the inner decks are not for the general crew. You have to have a guide down here, or you could.
I mean, the glowing and the carousel of dead animals and the hall of mirrors kind of clued me in on that, but I was getting there.
You know what a carousel is?
Oh no.
Girl, do you know the machinations?
Some. I've seen them.
You watch as the old man's face just lights up. That's so lovely. Would you like to come and see more of them?
As much as I would, I really need to find my friends.
Yes, I suppose you're right. If it's your first day, I imagine the captain has things for you. But please, this way.
Thank you.
And he proceeds to actually walk you over to to the left-hand wall.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's just a bit of wood paneling. But as you get closer, you do sort of notice that a section of it appears to be sort of the wood is a bit of an off-cut and colored a bit differently.
Okay.
And he proceeds to clack his fist against it, at which point it swings halfway open.
Mm-hmm.
And he gestures an arm to invite you to step through.
Okay. So I go through.
Okay. As you step by, you notice a painting
Okay.
that appears to be a large. Well, I don't know how much time you take to look at it.
Give it like 45 seconds.
It probably not quite that long. 45 seconds
Okay.
is a surprisingly long period of time, but you do take,
Prolonged eye contact, you know.
with that long goodbye contact, you do make out that there is a young woman seated on a small stool in the lower left corner, and she has a long, flowing, light blue hair.
Okay.
And she is dressed in a matching, very nicely cut, formal light blue dress.
Mm-hmm.
And from the little stool she's seated on and her position, you get the suspicion that there are other people in the photo, in the painting rather, except that all of the rest of it has been smeared in a gross black tar to basically omit the rest of the painting.
Okay.
And the old elf steps through and pushes the painting.
Mm.
and it swings back shut.
Hmm.
And as you turn back, you notice that you are standing in a room with a series of gold rings with blue crystals set in the middle and map charts off to one side. And standing just across the way, you see Zephyr and Captain Azure. Or not Zephyr, Poseidon, excuse me.
Perfect. And the elf stays, or does he disappear when I turn towards him?
No, he's right there.
Okay. Thank you for your kindness. This is one of them. I should be able to find the rest of our crew.
Oh, good. I do hope that you are with us for a while. I would love to show you some of my other some of the rest of my collection. At which point you do see as Azure turns back and sees the two of you. Jules, there you are. I was curious where you got off to. Apologies, Captain. I was working on the inner decks.
Oh.
Well, why was the
Hi.
Oh, Fira, you're
Hi.
awake. Excellent.
Apparently.
It was, you missed all the action.
Oh, I saw plenty of action. I promise you. What did I miss?
Fireballs raining from the sky, all that.
Micah, you make it up onto the deck at this point.
All right, what am I seeing up there?
Bits of the deck are most definitely on fire still, and the crew is running around
Good.
kind of snuffing them out.
Mm-hmm.
And the ship appears to be sailing at a decent chat in some direction. And
Cool.
Kelly is climbing the stairs to that second level.
I'm gonna just keep following the XO because she seems to know what she's doing, and I very firmly do not.
I don't think any of us.
You actually arrive up at the navigation room where everybody else is gathered at the moment.
Ah. All right then. Right, because we came up from the engine room.
Yeah.
What's going on up here? We good?
Well,
Have we stopped exploding? What's happening? Everything's on fire. Is that bad?
Everything's on what? What?
Well, the thing that set us on fire is no longer here. I do
Okay.
believe we are back in charted space, at least.
Cool.
That's good.
I mean, it's a step in the right direction.
You did seem to be speaking with authority. What makes you? Did you find a chart? Do you know where we are?
Yes. Well, when we were back there in the battle, I noticed the edge of one of these maps matched up to the edge of where we were. We were just off the edge of the third ring. So I was able to get us back toward it.
Can I see this map?
Yes, I point out everything that I found.
So Azure walks over, and he and Callie both lean over the chart, and then they look to each other and then look to you, and they seem a little scrupulous of your map.
Did I not get it correct? Look, you do understand we were in a bit of...
You didn't crash us into anything, so I'm going to go ahead and say you probably got it good enough.
Well, fair enough.
Good enough might be a bit of an oversell. We rather are still in uncharted water.
We are also no longer being fired at.
That's a win.
The captain kind of gives you like a, I guess you're right. See, what you managed to find is, at the best of times, only loosely referred to as a map.
Yes.
All right, so we found a space map. That's fun and interesting. Does your space map get us back to the prime material plane?
No. The fact that this space map didn't lead us into the middle of a star is mostly a winning success.
So it's a space map that shouldn't exist.
Well, that's sort of the long and the short of it.
What?
We
It's a bad map.
well, if it led us to a location, bad might be underplaying what it's apparently worth. We just didn't think it was worth anything when we got it.
Gotcha.
Huh.
If you want a bunch of actual space maps, you can see the rest of the pile. But
So what you're telling me here is that you know that we're somewhere on this map. We just don't know what this map represents.
that's the long and the short of it. I won this map off of a rather unsettled man during a card game once.
Interesting. So what you're telling me is we were knocked into uncharted fourth ring space, and I was able to find out where we are on the edge of a map that should not have led to anything.
Well, I didn't know if the map would lead to anything. That damn Asimov was an absolute chittering man of utter nonsense.
Okay. So
Zayden,
we
you didn't tell
found
me
out.
you were a cartographer.
I'm an astronomer.
Yes,
I study the stars.
He also
So we found out that the thing you potentially you thought you got scammed, and we just proved that you didn't get scammed.
Well, I mostly let him bet it on a pot that I knew I was going to win anyway. I didn't very much care.
Ah.
Okay.
So it was not a scam. It was a oh fuck! Just lost my word. A byproduct of a win.
Yes, more or less. And to be quite honest with you, the fact that I didn't just burn it when we got back here, or let the men use it to wipe their nethers, was mostly
All right. Hi, language. I'm here.
Yeah. Who uses prepositions?
I apologize. We tucked it into the back of the rest of the charts, mostly to respect the man. He was endearing. What was that man's name? Oh, I mean, I was rather been me cups at that point, but Charlie, Chucky, Chompers? No. Crow. Squawk? No.
Hold on. Chromat?
Aye, that was it. That was the fella.
Well, shit. He was a colleague of mine.
You know him.
Is that a good thing or a
Knew
bad
him.
thing?
Brilliant.
I knew him.
Oh no. Oh,
He's
don't
been gone
tell
for
me.
about 6 months.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did that voice finally get him?
Did
Voice?
what?
Well, I don't know if the man got into his drinks too much or something, but he seemed to be talking to his own voice. But it made him pretty good at cards. Not as good as Captain, but somehow that voice was able to tell him what a lot of us were holding.
Oh,
So he would talk to a voice that only he could hear,
Yeah.
and it told him how to cheat at cards.
I mean, it also seemed to just have like really involved conversations, Callie. All I'm saying is he was a nice enough man, and then he bet us a star chart on top of a pile he was gonna lose.
At this point, Fira is very visibly like not okay.
So the conjure was talking to himself, and honestly, I thought the star map was just at the bit of the rantings of an old man, but we didn't hit anything.
that is fair. He did know his way around the stars, but took him quite a while to get to where I am. back where we were. He was an interesting man.
Hey, that's the word for it. Anyway, star chart getting us where we're going.
I guess.
I mean,
You're gonna find like whatever the astral sea equivalent moon.
you broke up.
Know that if I like walk too far in one direction, I'm not just gonna fall into the endless void of space.
Sorry, you broke up like half of that question.
Are we gonna near like the astral sea equivalent of land soon? Because I'd really like to be able to walk in any given direction without worrying about dropping into the endless void of space.
And in actuality, as you ask this, the scout shouts down from above again. Land nears! Land nears!
Well, if that's not timing, I don't know what is.
Oh, shall we go and look?
Yeah.
Like I got anything better to do. I can't find this guy's voice. I'm trying so hard to find something. And I hate everything I've landed upon.
It's okay. I suck at voices if you can't tell.
I really
So-
love that
Just-
he's just from
just
fantasy news
gruff-
periodically.
Just gruff 1980s New Yorker.
It's kind of great.
I'm okay.
I'm great.
What are you? I'm a druid, isn't it? I'll be.
Azure walks out to the deck with Callie and Jules, and they make it to the railing.
Bada bing, bada bark spray.
Oh, God
my
damn it.
God.
It hurts to laugh. Don't make me laugh.
So
Sorry.
as you sail up, you begin to see what that flickering light in the distance was.
Mm-hmm.
And as you approach, you see a small landmass. And while there are some floating chunks of rock by itself, you do see the brownish, patchy green bits of dry, untended grass that grows around this small island. And set upon the island is a manor house.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So we're just looking out at this floating manor on an island in space.
Floating space island.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a manor. It's
Just a floating house on.
Sorry, floating house what?
So a floating house on an island.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
All right.
not weirder than the animals. It's okay.
scattered in and around it is a small copse of trees, but they are all very much leafless and bare.
Hmm.
And
Which is to be expected because they're in space.
as you draw near, you do see that the light that you were seeing is the flickering candle light that comes from the windows, half drawn in shade, and one of the very untended shutters just sort of swings back and forth, occasionally obscuring the candle behind it.
Well, it does not look quite well kept, but it does seem someone is home.
Oh, that's ominous. Let's go see. Let's go see. I'm sure it'll be great. I bet they'll have something to drink, something to eat, maybe some
It's not
conversation.
going to be the weirdest thing I've seen today, so let's go for it.
Okay.
I don't resist the call to adventure, Dustin.
Well, away team, it appears that you are now going to earn your part of our arrangement. And he walks back and grabs hold of the wheel.
Grabs what?
Grabs hold of the wheel, the sort of floating gold rings with the blue crystals.
Mm-hmm.
And he swings them up, and the nose of the ship actually tips upward. And he brings the ship to a rest.
Mm-hmm.
Some, give or take, maybe 100 feet up from the island.
Okay.
And the he proceeds to pull back on the controls, and he walks back onto the rail and calls, "Anchors away!"
What does an anchor connect to in space? I'm just leaning into it now.
Floating.
But does it like launch? You know what? I'm not an astro naval surgeon. Whatever.
Well, you actually watch as along the starboard side of the ship, two of the crew members actually pull out a big, what almost looks to be like a oversized grappling hook, almost with sort of V-shaped arms, and they proceed to hurl it over the side of the rail, and a long chain coils off down the side of the ship. And one walks back to the post where the chain is uncoiling from, and proceeds to push down a large button depression in the column. And you feel a shudder in the ship as it suddenly feels as if something has latched into place below.
Okay. Learn something new every day. Learn something new every day.
Answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it does. Okay. Let's
All right, you slack-jawed idiots.
Yeah, that sounds appropriate.
Did that ladder happen to survive that last bit of heating up that we did? You watch as a couple other crew members proceed to hoist a section of the rail away on the port side, and essentially from the edge of the deck beneath, they lift up a slotted box section. It's essentially mounted into the rail of the deck, and from it they unfurl a ladder, and it drops away.
Okay.
All right. We have our way down, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go check that out.
So we're pretty much floating over the edge of the island.
You're floating pretty close to the manor house.
About how high up are we?
About 100 feet.
Okay.
Noted. Okay. I'm going to start climbing down the ladder.
Okay.
Yeah, I follow.
Same.
As I desperately try to search for a voice I don't hate.
Thera,
Good. Luck. Yes.
as you go to head to the ladder,
Mhm.
the Captain Azure stops you,
Mhm.
and he pats around in his pockets, and he proceeds to produce 3 vials
3 vials.
of a dark blue liquid.
Okay. What are these?
Hopefully something that you won't need,
Fantastic.
but if you find yourself in a jam, it'll buy you a little extra time.
Okay.
From down the ladder, you just hear someone shouting, I love vague answers to specific questions.
He proceeds to lean over the rail and goes, "They're health potions."
If they're just health potions, why'd you? If they're just health potions, why'd you say that so vaguely and spookily? What did that delivery add? The mystique, you've got our interest. We're on a floating space boat.
Oh my god. We nailed it, boys. We're here.
Micah, look, some of us appreciate a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah, it's true.
First of all, pirate captain, very much in that latter category. Secondly, it was meant to just re-emphasize the gravity of your situation.
Cool. Noted.
And then you go to turn towards the left.
Whatever you say, space boat cap.
Boy.
As you go to then proceed towards the ladder, the old elf, who you now come to find his name is Jules, sidles up near you and just taps you on the shoulder.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, if you are going down there, I don't know if this will be helpful, but he produces a little wooden box set with a small floating blue crystal that no matter which way you turn the box, the needle only points in one direction.
So compass.
Well, it's a
To a degree.
it's a trans-dimensional tether.
Excellent. I'm sure it will come in plenty handy.
Just be careful how much you head towards the direction that the needle points. Okay then. And then he just kind of
Noted.
shuffles away.
Okay. Then she heads down the ladder and, you know, joins her friends floating in the abyss.
Yeah. As you progress down the ladder, you do see some 20-odd feet down from the ship on the other side. The anchor is floating in midair, and while the chain sways slightly, the anchor itself is deadlocked in position.
Ah, it's a spatial anchor.
Interesting.
Zayden, you can give actually Zayden and Thera. Your DCs are different, but you can both give me Arcana checks. Actually, Thera, are you trained in Arcana?
Yes.
One of the is it one of the skills that you're proficient in?
Yes.
Okay, you can both give me Arcana checks.
He was using the 3-5 technology.
Oh,
Let's pretend I didn't give one. I rolled a 5. I have a +1.
21.
okay.
Let's pretend I did not give one.
Yeah. Zayden, you are aware of not a space anchor, which that's a pretty apt description, but you have heard of a much smaller concept known colloquially as an immovable rod.
You cut out there.
It's known colloquially as an immovable rod.
Immovable rod.
Immovable rod. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just hearing rod.
I knew exactly what he was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
You gotta get yourself an actual microphone at some point.
Yeah, probably.
He won't.
I mean, you chop up too, so.
Right, that's because I have shit internet.
Yeah, well, fair enough. All right, so you managed to progress down the ladder, and it's like the ladder doesn't quite get all the way to the ground, but it's like a 5-foot hop. You can drop easily enough.
Yep. I do so happily.
So you let go and you drop down, and the grass very much crunches under your feet as you land.
Ah.
Now, I may just be a simple country druid,
Yeah.
but grass ain't supposed to crunch.
It's just dry.
Right, but like audible crunching. I mean, grass, space, crunching. None of this seems normal.
Have you never walked through a field in the winter when there has not been snow for a while?
Yeah, but that shit's frozen, and this ain't frozen.
Well, I mean, that's
Nope.
fair. That is fair.
Yeah, it's a difference. It's a difference.
As you all do land, you do find yourself overtaken by one harsh. As
What?
I'm sorry, a what?
as a chill wind rolls over you.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it seems my winter comment was a bit more apt than expected.
Ground team, can you hear me? Ground team.
Oh, okay, where's that coming from?
Yeah, where are we hearing that from?
You notice that sound is coming from the inside of the box that Jules gave you.
I hold it up and
As you flip
stare at it. Yeah.
As you flip the lid open, the voice becomes a little more clear. Ground team, this is the captain. Can you hear me?
We read.
Yeah, we got you. We hear you.
All right. We are in need of starlight wood.
Starlight wood?
Yes.
Okay.
We must patch the holes in our hull, or we're not making it much further.
Okay, I'm going to assume that starlight wood isn't a metaphor for your space boats.
I got like half of whatever rude analogy you were just trying to make.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume that Starlight Wood isn't like the nickname Boat's penis. But you're not doing me any favors when you're talking about patching up a hole.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You and Zeke are gonna get along great, I can tell.
Oh my.
Zeke?
Zeke is, if I remember correctly, it is the rabbit folk Micah here attacked.
That's right.
Well,
That's
you
right.
you heard the captain who has us under duress. Let's go find his space wood.
Must
Boy.
you be so?
Look,
okay.
I'm just saying the captain needs wood, and we've got to get it for him.
Let us move on.
I can't promise that this channel will work clearly through solid objects inside you may be on your own. But
Well, we're gonna find out.
Noted.
if you find other helpful things, feel free to acquire them. The ship needs many things, but most pressingly, if we can't patch the leaks, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And a demi-plane such as this, there must be Starlight Wood somewhere.
Well, we will get to searching then.
Good.
So what do we see in the immediate vicinity?
Okay. So you have landed maybe 30, 40 feet from the front of the manor. Set in the yard just outside of the house is a well with a partially collapsed cone covering, and some of the stones on the wall of the well have fallen inward.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there is two of the dead tree skeletons very nearby to the edge of the island where you are. A lot of the rest of the copse of trees are off behind the house.
Okay. Well,
If you want to look for anything more specifically, tell me where you're looking, and then you can give me an investigation check, or you can do whatever you would like.
I addressed the box. Hey, Cap,
Yes.
you never told me what Starlight Wood looks like.
It will have crystalline veins running through it.
That should be easy to recognize.
Yeah, and most wood doesn't usually have rock in it. Okay, yeah, that works.
I think I'm going to start heading towards the manor.
Yeah, I'm gonna head there too.
Same. I'll follow.
Okay.
Strategically placed in between the two of them, seeing as A, I'm carrying the box, and B, shit happens when I walk away.
Fair enough. Okay. You approach the manor, and as you draw close, you do notice that even for your furbolg, who stands, 7.5 feet tall, the double doors on the front of the manor stand impressively high at 15 odd feet. And they are a dark red color against the ashen gray tiling of the house and set into the door are two bronze gargoyle-faced knockers.
Well, based on the candlelight, I'd say someone might be home. Perhaps we shall just ask to see if they have any wood to spare.
Who's knocking? Micah, you knocking?
There's also a
Do the most obvious thing in the world, and I knock on those knockers. No hesitation. I see them, I grab them, I hit them.
sorry, before you necessarily jump to that, I also would like to make you aware that there is a pull cord next to the door with a tassel.
That's ringing trap. I say we knock.
I've already used the knocker. The additional information changed nothing.
Fair. There are two knockers. Which one do you use?
I'll grab the one on the right. My right.
Okay. Toom, toom, toom. You hear it echo within.
Hello?
Well, I've waited long enough. I grab the tassel and give it a pull.
No.
As you yank down on the tassel, you hear from within.
I'm sorry, was that a scream?
Yes, I also have neighbors.
Ah, okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure it was a scream. Didn't just stab a cat.
That might be what's screaming. You don't know.
Well, that doesn't sound super good.
You know, I was kind of expecting a doorbell.
Kind of.
I don't think that counts. But it at least made noise.
I test the door handle, or doorknob.
Do you test the door on the right or the left?
The one I knocked.
Yeah.
So the right.
The door clicks and
Is that an opening noise?
yes, it's the
Okay, cool.
creaking.
Right.
Anyone? At least we gave them warning. Are you gonna look inside first since you opened it, or?
Yes. I have opened the door. I am
You
putting my
should
head
always
in.
be the one
the
to
door.
go in first, because you're the.
Provided that Barkskin is still active, yes.
Either way.
Honestly, I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Well, it lasts an hour, and I don't think it's been an hour, but we're probably getting close.
I was gonna say you maybe have 5 or 10 minutes.
That's fine. That's time before I get a recast.
That's fair. As you as you poke your head inside, you have dark vision, right?
No, we've been over this.
Oh yes. As you stick your head inside, whereas the light outside carried sort of a muted gray pseudo daylight, as soon as you stick your head inside, your head becomes illuminated, and you see an entryway of white tile coated in a thin layer of brown curled leaves. And as you proceed to crack the door open, the wind from outside picks them up and scatters them inward. And as you look down at the motion by your feet, you do notice along the polished white tile, there appears to be a smear of red.
Fantastic. It's a murder house.
Well, there's nothing for it at this point but to go further.
I look in or follow him in if he's stepping in. Does that smear of red look like blood?
It looks like a smear of red. You can get closer to it and investigate it if you'd like.
I think I will.
Uh,
I mean, if Micah's already gone inside, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to get around him.
Yeah, I've gone inside.
so you, Zayden, as you step inside, you do see set some 50-odd feet back inside this foyer chamber are a pair of elaborate staircases that meet at a floor, a demarcation in a diamond emblem in the floor, and curve upward to then re-meet on a second floor landing. And there are doors off to the left and right nearby, and offset behind the grand staircase, you see there are another 2 doors at the back of the room, and there's hallways that extend off of the upper landing.
All right, so elaborate mansion foyer.
As you crouch down to look at it, it appears to be a dried red stain of some kind.
Okay.
How do you get closer to it? Do you investigate it?
Yeah, I'm gonna investigate it.
Give me an investigation.
With a nat 20.
As you scratch a finger in it and hold that finger up, you get the distinct smell of iron.
Well,
it does appear to be very dry.
Well, this is certainly blood, but old blood. It's not. This is not very new.
In all fairness, only old blood would be able to afford a house like this. But
oh,
Ow.
Sorry.
Well,
there's no point waiting around in the foyer, guys.
Yeah. Well, we only just walked in. Let us. Well, upstairs, downstairs.
Now, I've been in a number of houses, but I have not lived in where one would keep their space wood.
I mean, that is fair. Let's check the first floor for now.
That makes sense. Where are our exits?
There are left and right close on the first floor, left and right in the rear on the first floor behind the staircase, and then hallways off of the upper landing.
I'm going to check left close, I think. Unless someone has objections.
no objections.
Oh, Fira.
Yes.
Just as a precaution, we may want to find something to keep this door open. You seemed creeped out enough by the doorbell. Might as well leave an exit that cannot be closed by some strange force. I know how these stories go.
I appreciate that.
Yes, we're gonna leave that door as open as we can. I don't know if there's anything to prop it open or if it will just stay open.
Is there any furniture around you could use? A chair? An end table?
That is the question, isn't it?
Give who's actually looking for furniture?
Me.
Give me a perception check.
You gotta try to find those stealth
I
chairs.
dropped my die. Oh, okay, that's fine. 15 plus 5, so 20.
Sort of tucked back in an alcove against the front wall, you do find a heavy brass canister with a as exemplary to what you need, or not to what you need, to what it is used for. You do find a cane in a big brass
Okay.
canister.
So I go and grab it, and I help prop open the door so I don't freak out.
Okay.
And then follow along towards where Micah's going.
Micah, as you open the door on your left, you see that 10 feet into the room is carpeting begins.
There's a carpet, you said?
Yes, and you see oblong shapes that appear to be shifting slightly further into the room, where there is some of the gray light from outside is fighting harshly to try and get through through the curtains, especially where one flutters in the back corner.
I head towards the shifting shapes. Has anybody followed me into the room?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Hey, I'm gonna go check out these weird shapes.
Shape? I mean...
The universe. Look. The planes are filled with exciting things to experience and see. And we're in a clearly haunted mansion on a space rock floating through a demiplane, and I'm not gonna go see what the shapes are.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, if you're going first.
Do either of the dark vision types step into the room?
Yes.
Yes.
You do see that there is 6 different shapes. They essentially run in rows of 2. To the left-hand side, there are 2 boxier shapes covered in sheets. To the right-hand side, 2 other boxy shapes covered in sheets, and more ridged and rounded shapes in the center of the room.
Okay.
So can we make out what these shapes are?
Is my dim glowing helping at all?
The dim glowing is probably the only thing that's permitting them to note that there are sheets, and that there are defined box shapes on the left and right objects, and that the things in the center are lumpy.
You know, as long as you're going in front of us all, I'm just gonna walk over to Micah and tap the crystal on his staff and cast light.
Not a crystal. It's a big rock.
Whatever. It is glowing now.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure you've got the mental image right. It's not like some mystical, magical crystal. It's a moss-covered rock.
Okay. And now it's a glowing moss-covered rock.
Yeah!
As you light up the bright, as you get light into the room proper. You do see that it is very much sheet-covered objects. You see around the boxy-shaped ones that there are wooden claw legs, like the bottoms of like ornate furniture under the boxy shapes.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And running along the the inside wall of the room, because there are curtained windows on the left-hand side and at the far wall. Along the inside wall is what you would almost mistake to be a mirror, but it's a polished gold relief that gives faint reflection of the room now that there is light in here. But it's you can vaguely make out your forms in it, but not to any fine detail.
Okay.
Well, I think I'm gonna start walking towards that gold relief thing. Try and see what that's all about.
Okay, give me an investigation check.
That is a 14.
You see each of your figures shifting in the room.
Mm.
And you also notice the sort of fluttering white sheets because they're large, white objects being reflected. You do notice that at your count, though, there's only 5 of them.
There's 5 of the sheet-covered objects in the room,
Yes.
both in the room and the reflection.
As you look back, there are definitely 6 in the room.
Interesting.
Sweet.
I'm going to keep an eye on it in the reflection, and on myself in the reflection, and walk backwards to where the 6th object seems to be.
Okay. What are the other 2 of you doing?
Fear is still in that state of like, what the fuck from everything. So that's gonna be her constant thing. She's just always in the state of what the fuck. So she's not quite registering the difference in numbers of what she's seeing. So she's kind of like, what's going on? Like, what?
Micah, what are you doing?
My mic is on toggle. Are there any anything else of interest in here? Any doors?
Give me an investigation check.
That's a 3.
There are 4 walls and a ceiling.
There sure are objects.
I'm going to try to find a wall and then to try to find a door.
Say that again?
I'm going to find a wall, or try to find a wall, and then like feel along that wall to see if I can find like a door.
You do have the light on your staff, remember?
Oh, you're right.
Feel along the wall, even though you can see
As he
clearly.
forgets that he can see, yeah. I can picture that.
And yes, I was smart. I gave light to the one person in the party who doesn't have dark vision.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're so nice.
So what do these shapes look like that we see? Like,
By the exterior windows, two boxy shapes, then inset from them but slightly off canter are two ridge shapes, and then offset again are two more boxy shapes closest to the gold relief.
and those are the ones we see in the mirror, or they're in I'm sorry, I thought there were 5 in here and 6 in the mirror. Is it the other way around?
Other way around.
Oh, okay. Can I make out which one isn't supposed to exist?
That was what Zidane was just doing, as you back up and realize that the further back in the room, ridged one does not appear in the mirror.
Oh, okay. Wait. When I first heard this, I thought you said there were 6 in the mirror
No.
and 5
There
in the
are
room.
5 in the mirror and 6 in the room.
Okay, so I'm walking towards the one that
Doesn't have a reflection.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, whereabouts is that other thing I see?
Like directly over your shoulder.
Ah,
That's fun.
okay. Actually, that might. So I'm still heading towards the object that shouldn't be there. I'm gonna investigate that.
That other thing is very familiar. You've seen that thing before.
Nobody else is going to do it. I'm going to go poke the one that's not supposed to exist.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. I'm like backing towards it, so I know. Well, I'm looking in the mirror and moving slowly. So if you get there before I do,
back near that entryway that we came in from, just kind of watching you guys from across the room, not understanding what's going on.
Micah, how do you go about poking it?
Like any good man with a stick, I poke it with my stick.
Okay. It is. It gives slightly, but then you feel the stick meet something very hard.
Huh. So it's like soft-ish, and then it gets hard. Can I see what it's made? Like, can I tell what it's made out of, or what it appears to be made out of?
The sheet appears to run all the way to the ground.
Oh, it's a sheet. Right. It's a sheet-covered object. I grab the sheet and I pull it off.
As you proceed to do so, you hear from beneath the sheet as it drops away.
All right.
And that will be initiative next session.